All right, off to a good start. My name is Renç. I am the CEO of Giza, and today we're going to talk about, you know, imagination a little bit. The title is "Market Beyond Human Limitations." So we're going to talk about this constant tension that we have between the current market structures and what humans are capable of doing and executing. We're going to introduce a new financial species. We're going to talk about, what this species can enable for users, for protocols, for ecosystems, and we're going to try to bring DeFi back to its ideological roots, and we'll go into a little bit more detail of what that means exactly. Perfect. Okay, starting with this claim that today's markets, they have currently exceeded what humans are capable of doing. The markets that we are operating on, they require 24/7 monitoring. They require understanding of quite nuanced metrics and terminologies like utilization ratio, causation ratio, APR, APY, and they require this constant attention that creates a huge cognitive burden on the users, and it's limiting what users are capable of, but it's also limiting the adoption of blockchain, of decentralized finance, and everything else in between. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this meme. This meme has been used over and over again over the past years to basically explain the trade-offs that we bring to DeFi, to blockchain, and all its complexities. This meme to me is outdated because in the meantime, we have evolved DeFi to a much more sophisticated part. But while we're doing that, we have failed to make it less complex for the users. So one of the things that Web2 products and Web2 companies are unfortunately great at is while they get more and more sophisticated, the user experience gets less and less friction. And in Web3, we were not able to do this. As we built more complex financial products, we were not able to remove the complexity from the user side. So everything that we have built became more and more complex. You can think of, like, let's say one of the best DeFi protocols or best offerings out there, which is Pendle. And if you put Pendle in front of a normal person out of the streets, the interface, this person is going to freak out and they're not going to be able to conduct it. And this gap between what DeFi is capable of and who's able to use it is what we're trying to streamline. So going towards a more complex version of DeFi, understanding that we have so much more to manage, I've created a new meme that explains DeFi's current state. It's this. And countless chains, countless protocols, impermanent loss, concentrated liquidity positions, crazy stuff happening. At the same time, while managing all of this, you're trying to decide what to do with your wealth. So you're not trying to play a game, but you're trying to understand how can I not lose money and how can I make more money. So this brings us to this reality that we are shifting away from what DeFi was meant to be. Because we created DeFi, we initiated DeFi with the ideology that DeFi should provide access of finance to every single person who wants it. That was the main idea behind decentralized finance. Along the way, we kind of let that go, and we have built something only a group of people are able to conduct. Only a group of people who can use Pendle, only a group of people that can log into Morpho, etc., etc. So how do we bring that back? How do we fix this? There are current solutions out there. To me, they provide nothing but a band-aid, and they don't really solve complexity, but they offer like a temporary solution to it. One of these are a vault. So the vaults has been a great innovation in terms of capital efficiency because you can do a lot with it. But at the same time, it is lacking some of the fundamental requirements that we are asking for capital management in 2025. So the vaults, they operate on predefined, mostly looped strategies, but they don't really offer dynamic decision frameworks that you want your financial treasury manager to have. They don't offer personalization. They don't offer the best risk potential because you kind of put everybody's eggs in one basket and hope for the best. And we have seen over and over again how that turns out. Then in the past few months, we have this new era of chat interfaces and LLM wrappers for financial operations. I have three, let's say, concerns about this. One of them is, who here in the past 10 years, 20 years has sent a text to their bank telling them, take my $2,000 from my mortgage account, put it in my savings account, take 5% of it to that, and get me the X% interest rate. I do not understand why this UX is enforced in crypto to start with, because it's neither safe, because you can do a lot of wrong things while typing out financial operations, and there are much better interfaces and UI parts that are much more intuitive. The second part of all of this is a bit more ideological, because I have been attending these AI and crypto events for the past 2-3 years, and there's one narrative that every AI crypto project loves to ride, and that's OpenAI is bad, Sam Altman is evil, closed source AI is bad, and decentralized AI is good. I have no problem with this from an ideological perspective. The last panel was amazing in explaining why this is great. But at the same time, I find it a bit caricature that the same people who advocate for this are the same people who wants to build a ChatGPT for crypto, which has no defensibility, which is one OpenAI event away from being completely irrelevant. For me, we need to build better products that makes us different, rather than trying to build products that are, a bit more lazy in product market fit. Besides all of these things, the main problem with these chat interfaces and LLM wrappers is that they operate on what I like to call an instructions to executions model. So the product, they still require each and every one of you to know exactly where you want to get to and how you want to get there. You need to type it out, and they will automate it for you. So going back to our problem about, making DeFi more ideological, making available for everybody, with these products, you're not really serving a different audience type or different demographics. You're still serving the same people who knows exactly what to do in DeFi, but you're just providing an automation for the same group of people. So you're not expanding DeFi, you're not expanding finance, and you're not definitely bringing, this 1 billion users back to crypto. So what we are trying to do at Giza is give you something like this. That is complete automation of financial operations, complete abstraction of complexity, and in a safe, non-custodial manner. And we do this by building both the application layer and the infrastructure layer. And I will first start with the application layer. We have built the first financial autonomous agent in Web3 that is able to identify and execute strategies on behalf of users in an autonomous and continuous manner without having the need of prompts and inputs and everything else. Arma is an agent that offers 24/7 automated stablecoin yield optimization across multiple lending protocols. So you don't have to go to Aave, you don't have to go to Morpho, you don't have to know Base, you don't have to know DeFi. You can just give your funds to Arma, and Arma will identify the best strategy for you and execute it over and over and over again, compounding your funds until you tell it to stop. And this has been going on for the past few weeks. Here are some numbers. We have 14,000 agents deployed. This is basically one-to-one to our user base, because every single person gets their own agents. So if you go to arma.xyz and if you connect your wallets, there's a smart account being created in the backend for you. And now we're going into the safety part of financial automation. The smart account allows you to decouple the management of your funds from your EOA to the funds that the agent is going to manage. You get to dictate how much of those funds are going to be. You get to dictate which currency and everything else. And you still have the private keys. The agent doesn't have the private keys. Giza doesn't have your private keys. You still get to dictate what amount of money the agent can conduct for you, but everything is on your custody. The second part afterwards is a primitive called session keys. Session keys allows us to do a couple of things. First of all, it allows us to build cryptographic guardrails to the agent that the agent cannot operate outside of. So, for example, in the case of Arma, We have our partner protocols such as like Aave, Morpho, Compound, whitelisted in these session keys primitive, and the agent cannot interact with any other protocol besides that. The agent can only swap between USDC and USDT. The agent can only interact with ABC smart contracts, and these are cryptographically bound, and there's no way to operate outside of it. So this session keys primitive allows us to do a couple of more things. One of them is personalization. So you are able to dictate, I only want to interact with ABC protocol. I only want to, my gas tolerance is 0.05 cents at most, and I don't want my agent to conduct in gas congested environments. This is if you want to do these things, and this is if you have the capacity to know these things. If you don't have the technical capacity, it comes with built-in session keys limitations, and you are perfectly fine with that. The other thing that it allows us to do is it allows us to serve audiences that has different types of risk requirements. So besides retail, we're also working with institutions who wants to use these financial agents for automated treasury management. As you can imagine, a person putting 5 million into an agent has a different risk requirement than a person who is putting 5,000 into it. And what we're able to offer to institutions is they can say, I only want my agent to interact with protocols that has a TVL about 500 million. My slippage tolerance is 0.01%, and I don't want any operation executing above it. All of these things, I'm explaining it to you because we are building your own personalized treasury manager that only conducts for you and for you only. So if you have 20K in that agent and I have my 500 bucks, the strategies that it identifies for you are very much different than mine. So it will never take your 20K to a pool that has a depth of 100K because it has an understanding of market equilibrium, and it understands that it will completely collapse that market and it will make it non-profitable for yourself. More numbers. We launched Arma on Base 2 weeks ago. In 2 weeks, it went from zero to around $700,000. This is $700,000 managed off user capital, automated, intelligent, continuous, always growing. And we have different types of users. We have people who have put 150K in it, and we have people who has put 200 bucks in it just to try a new financial instrument. The agent has executed more than 27,000 transactions. These transactions required 0 prompts, 0 inputs, and they were mostly done when people were sleeping. And for me, the fascinating part is 27,000 of these are 100% profitable. The agent only executes when the profitability forecast is justified from a cost perspective. The profitability forecast takes into account DeFi variables like APR, protocol rewards, and ecosystem rewards. And it combines that with the cost parameters, which are fundamental to DeFi, but humans are terrible at understanding, such as gas cost, slippage fees, protocol depth, market impact. And it only executes once this path is justified, and it has executed more than 27,000 of those. Next number is sometimes the most important number for depending on who you are. The agent that is continuously managing your capital, always looking for the best opportunity, always capturing the best opportunity for you, is simply better than what you can do by yourself at home. This is a backtesting we did over the past 4 months on Base, where we compared a static position, which means you putting your $10,000 into an Aave vault, compared to the agent conducting those $10,000 and continuously making the most of every single opportunity that pops up on the Base ecosystem for the stablecoin yield returns. And on average, there is an 80% more yield that an intelligent agent can create for you if you just let it. Our agents are user-centric, and the user-centric part is quite important because we are going towards a new paradigm where the protocols are going to become a part of the back end of DeFi. Nobody's going to go to the interfaces of protocols. Nobody's going to interact with the protocols. They're going to interact with agents and Giza agents that are going to be the main interface for users. So the $600,000, $700,000 that I was mentioning to you, it brought this amount of capital to Morpho and Seamless on Base without the users going to Morpho, without the users going to Base, without the users going to Seamless. And shortening that capital gap for the protocols as a B2B solution is also super important, because we are streamlining the friction part out of this equation. So if you're building a DeFi protocol, your main client is not going to be users anymore. Your main client is going to be agents, and you're going to have to optimize for agent interactions and agent integrations. Compared to the previous example that we discussed, which are these chat interfaces, we operate, and Giza agents operate on an intent to outcome model. So we don't need the whole steps. We just need a desired outcome from you. So this can be, I want better stablecoin yield returns. This can be, I want ETH returns, etc., whatever it is. But we only need that. And we take care of strategy formulation and execution. And we remove the burden of technical knowledge from the user. So this is the part where we expand actually the users and the market capital of DeFi, because we no longer have to serve users that know DeFi. We can position ourselves at the top of the funnel to users who are new to DeFi or who don't care about DeFi at all and who just wants a better return on their capital. As I mentioned, your personalized treasury manager is very much on the way. And going back to the ideology part, we want to bring democratization of finance back to its roots, because this is by moving away from zero-sum games, by moving away from information asymmetries that are created in DeFi, is the way we can bring this 1 billion users to financial world of Web3. You can think of it as the GPS. Before the GPS was commercialized, every single person who needed to go from A to B needed to know how to read a map, how to read a compass, how to look at the stars or like read leaves or something. But once GPS was commercialized, navigation democratized and everybody could go anywhere they want. And this is what Giza agents bring to DeFi. Anybody can use DeFi, from its most complex strategies to most simplest ones. And personalization and customization part for us is super important, because it also creates market efficiencies and market diversity that we don't currently have in DeFi. Currently in DeFi, capital most of the time moves one way or the other, but we can bake personalized interest tastes and investment tastes into each agent that will bring further efficiency to markets. And while doing that, we are able to reduce the friction of user acquisition as much as possible. So in one way, you bring personalization, and the other way, you reduce user acquisition, and that's how you go towards new markets. That's how you go towards new capital, and that's how you build better products that can battle with Web2 products. The reason why we built the application layer first, and why we built Arma, the first financial autonomous agent in Web3, was to really understand what it takes to fully automate DeFi strategies and on-chain actions. By understanding and building this over months, we were able to master its blueprint, its specifications, and everything else that comes with it. We have also built Arma on landing markets, because landing markets are DeFi's foundational primitive, and it unlocks all of the other use cases. So by building the first agent on landing markets, now every single agent that we can bring is just one click away. Whether you want to do deleverage, leverage, LRTs, delta neutrality, arbitrage, whatever you want to name it, we can make it happen. But at the same time, there's so much we can do as a 10-person team, and the use cases are quite vast. So we are going to be building the Giza protocol that allows for anybody to build financial agents, businesses on top of Giza, that is focused on automation, intelligence in a safe and non-custodial manner. And with that being said, you can follow us on GizaTech XYZ. You can add me on Telegram. I'm around for a while. If you want to come and talk to me, I'll be happy to take questions, happy to jam about future of finance. Thank you.